But actually, that's not the case at all. See, the kind of person that went out and robbed a bank, that's not like an isolated example. This person is coming up with these actions because he's screwed up on the inside, because he's unconscious on the inside. And so you have a chain of this. And this is what we mean by karma, is this perpetuating chain of selfishness. And the punishment is not jail or someone yelling at you or a fine that you get. The punishment is suffering. The emotional suffering and distress that this person experiences in life. Because even though he got away from this bank, in the back of his mind, this person, he's always going to be afraid now. He's always going to be looking over his shoulder. Are they going to catch me tomorrow? Maybe they won't. But see, he's going to suffer for that. He's also probably going to feel some sort of remorse or guilt. He's also probably going to feel out of integrity with himself because he's not following his own principles. He knows that robbing a bank is not right, but he did it anyways because he knew that it would make him feel good. But see, he didn't calculate the suffering that would come after the fact. And of course, you might say, well, Leo, he can suppress that stuff, and what if he's not going to feel guilty about it? And that's true, you can suppress that stuff. But still, it seeps out, right? You can't suppress it forever, and you can't suppress it in all the ways that it's going to come back and get you. And the way in which it gets you is the fact that, well, just by the fact that he did something selfish here, something so obviously selfish, this is going to create a habit of selfish behavior. So now, even though, let's say he says, I'm never going to rob a bank again, and he never does, okay, that's fine, but the selfishness is still going to be within him. And the problem here is that he's not recognizing that he's doing selfish stuff. He's not admitting it to himself. And so this is where a lot of the harm comes from. So now he's got all this money, and he might go do something else selfish. He might be selfish in his relationships with his girlfriend. And that relationship might go sour because of that. And so he might have a string of bad relationships throughout his whole life because he's being selfish there, he's not recognizing it. And then maybe he goes and he does something else selfish. Maybe he goes partying with his friends, and then there they have a fight because they're not able to agree on something. And so he has a fight with his friends. And his whole life is very turbulent, and there's a lot of suffering because he's not able to get along with his friends or his girlfriend or his potential wife or other aspects of his life. He feels now that he needs pleasure from this money that he's got. What if the money runs out? How's he going to feel then? So the selfishness just keeps perpetuating itself. In the end, if you want to stop this cycle, what you have to do is you have to apply conscious awareness to see that what you're doing is selfish. The real punishment for all this is basically hell. In the West, we have a Christian notion of hell, which is hell somewhere out there in another life. But actually, that notion is not what hell literally means. That notion of hell, where did it come from? It came from the actual hell, which is here for you right now. You have the hell. You're living in hell right now. Hell on earth. That's what your life is. It's a life where you're unable to actually have true happiness and peace of mind. You don't have true peace of mind because you're always stressed and anxious all the time. You're always secretly angry at someone, bitter at someone, trying to manipulate some circumstance. Wherever it is in your life, you're always trying to do that. And your whole life is that. So this concept goes very, very deep, and it's very, very subtle because you don't like hearing this stuff. You don't like admitting this stuff.
Going differently in my mind.
Because the only way that it actually is effective is when it's not admitted. So it takes a lot of mindfulness work. Punishment is hell. And make no mistake about it, right now, you're living in a hell. And what's bad about it is that you don't even recognize, many of you don't even recognize that this hell is here for you right now, that you're living in it. You're always afraid that hell is going to be out there somewhere for you. No, hell for you is right now. You're not able to be happy. And the other punishment that you get is kind of the opposite side of that coin, is that because you're in hell all the time, you're not able to experience paradise. Paradise, heaven. What is paradise and heaven? Again, that's not something up in the clouds somewhere after you die. It can be here for you right now. Heaven is the state of being spiritual, the state of having no thoughts, and the state of selflessness. When you get rid of the sense of self that you have, when you unravel that whole thing, which is basically what all enlightenment work is leading towards, then what you discover is that you can actually have true happiness right here, right now, regardless of external circumstances, and you can also have paradise for yourself right here. True peace of mind, because you're not caught up in this karmic cycle. And so that's what the Buddha is really talking about. And that's what the Eastern yogis talk about with karma, is that you perpetuate your own suffering and your own hell here on earth. 99.999% of people do this. And if you want to turn this around, then you have to start to just become aware, simply aware of what's really going on here, how this karma is working. Because it can always work in your favor. If you start to dissolve the self, and you start to behave from a selfless place, then you get this positive karma building up. And then you can experience paradise. It's really that simple, but you have to see how nuanced this is. You have to see how deep this rabbit hole goes. We could talk about this for hours. Hours and hours and hours, and all the subtle ways in which you manipulate yourself to perpetuate your negative karma cycle. But that's it for now for here.